Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour. Ray of hope for Gaza peace as Hamas delegation to hold ceasefire talks in Cairo. Hezbollah pledges to implement truce with Israel. Fierce fight erupts in Syria. Rebel forces enter Aleppo in surprise offensive. Army closes all highways. Waits for Russian support. India asks Bangladeshi authorities to ensure safety and security of minority communities. Political parties join in solidarity. And Cyclone Fengal likely to make landfall today. Red alert for Indian states of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry. Our top story, peace process for Gaza is set to resume today as a Hamas delegation will arrive in Cairo on Saturday for talks with Egyptian officials on a possible ceasefire in Gaza. The visit comes days after the United States said it would begin new efforts with Qatar, Egypt and Turkey to revive Gaza ceasefire talks. The United States has also announced a new diplomatic effort with Qatar, Turkey and Egypt to reach a Gaza ceasefire and the release of hostages taken during Hamas's October 7, 2023 attacks on Israel that set off the current fighting. The only ceasefire so far in November 2023 saw the release of about 100 hostages by Hamas and its allies in exchange for 240 Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. The announcement came 2 days after a ceasefire went into effect between Israel and the Lebanese group Hezbollah. And the head of Hezbollah, Naim Qassem, pledged on Friday to coordinate closely with the Lebanese army to implement a ceasefire deal with Israel. In his first televised address since a ceasefire came into effect, Qassem said Hezbollah had approved the deal with the resistance strong in the battlefield and our heads held high with the right to defend ourselves. The ceasefire stipulates that Hezbollah will withdraw from areas south of the Litani River and that the Lebanese army will deploy troops there as Israeli grounds troops withdraw. Now, Syria is witnessing fierce fight between rebels and government-led forces. Syrian rebel fighters took control of several neighborhoods in Aleppo, Syria's second-largest city, as clashes continued with government forces on Friday. To stop forward movement by the rebels, the Syrian army closed major roads in and out of Aleppo, issuing safe withdrawal orders to troops in certain neighborhoods. Checkpoints around the city were instructed to allow only military personnel to enter or exit, effectively sealing off Aleppo. Syrian authorities also closed Aleppo airport and cancelled all flights on Saturday as rebels opposed to President Bashar al-Assad are moving forward to take control of the city. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said key Syrian town of Sarakib was also taken over by the jihadist group. Friday's advancement in Aleppo is part of a major offensive launched by Syrian rebels and their allies that began Wednesday. By Friday, opposition fighters led by the Islamist militant group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham captured over 50 towns and villages in northern Syria. Russia, a key ally of Assad, has pledged additional military aid to help repel the rebels, with new equipment expected to arrive within the next 72 hours. The rebels are returning to the city for the first time since 2016. Meanwhile, a video posted on social media shows students rushing down the stairs of student housing at a university in the government-held city of Aleppo after an artillery shell fell. The official news agency of Syria reported death of 4 people in this strike. My colleague Jessica Taneja joins me live. She has more information on this. Jessica, good morning. Hezbollah's Naim Qasem's first address and ceasefire deal between Israel and Hezbollah. Tell us, how do we see this panning out in the days to come? Because both Israel and Lebanon have been trading accusations at each other for breaching the ceasefire deal.
Spanning across the entire region to an extent that ever since Wednesday, when the ceasefire deal was enforced, there has been relatively calm. But for how long will it hold? Because there are violations from both ends to an effect. There were reports of the Hezbollah fighters also charging at the Israelis, and the Israelis, of course, also militarily taking action against a few groups that it considers to be a threat for its national security. So on the surface, it does continue, but the focus then remains on how long will the ceasefire deal hold, to the effect that it brings lasting peace. And the 13-point agreement particularly states that within 60 days you could expect the Israeli troops, the ground troops, will withdraw from Lebanon, whereas you'd see Hezbollah and its fighters also somewhat retreat from the Litani River and southern Lebanon, also the border of Lebanon and Israel. So a lot to watch out for in the future. But from the moment that we see there is relative peace and calm in that particular region, at least on that front, for the moment, if not too much, but it's the one on the side of Gaza and Palestine, which right now is still flared up, and we're seeing reports of people still being killed.
A lot to watch out for in the coming days. But Jessica, talking about Syria, the largest offensive in years by the Syrian opposition fighters against the government forces. Do you think it has stirred fears of reigniting a civil war that has been mostly frozen for years?
Ever since 2011, when we saw what happened in Syria and the whole emergence of Arab Spring, there have been minor sort of incidents here and there, but this recent flare-up in Syria does seem to signify, it does seem to show that the Assad regime is slightly under pressure, to the effect that this new development has pushed him slightly on edge with the attack from the minority, the Sunni jihadist group that has now waged a war. And of course, we saw the killing of one of the commanders of the IRGC in Syria as well. So, and attacks frequently on students, and looking at how this is panning out, it's certainly be a tough task ahead for Bashar al-Assad, who has seen relative calm, but not to the extent where it could be out of harm's way.
All right, Jessica, we'll leave it at that. Thanks. Moving on, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha has called on NATO members to extend an invitation to Ukraine to join the military alliance during a meeting in Brussels next week. The letter reflects Ukraine's renewed push to secure an invitation to join NATO, which is part of a victory plan outlined last month by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to end the conflict. In an interview with UK-based news channel, Zelensky said offering Ukraine NATO membership while allowing Russia to retain some captured territory for now could be a potential solution. Ukraine further said it accepts that it cannot join the alliance until the war is over, but extending an invitation would show that no one can prevent Kiev from becoming a NATO member. Now, French President Emmanuel Macron reaffirmed his support for Ukraine in a phone call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Friday. Macron reiterated this condemnation of an escalation in Russia-Ukraine conflict, while Zelensky mentioned that he had a productive telephone conversation with Macron. He also thanked him for France's readiness to help with generally strengthening Ukraine's air defense capabilities and for general support and speeding up the transfer of Mirage aircraft. Now, an explosion on Friday evening damaged a canal in northern Kosovo, supplying water to two coal-fired power plants that generate nearly all of the country's electricity. According to Kosovo Interior Minister, the explosion was a terrorist act and that part of the canal was damaged. There were no immediate reports of injuries and the cause of the blast was not clear. Meanwhile, Kosovo's Prime Minister Albin Kurti on Friday accused neighbouring Serbia of being behind an explosion that damaged a canal in northern Kosovo.
Organet shtetërore janë të angazhuara për të siguruar menaxhimin e situatës, rikuperimin e dëmit dhe zbardhjen e plotë të rastit. Sulmi është kryer nga profesionist, është sulmi i radhës, kriminal e terrorist, që ne besojmë se vjen nga bandat e dirigjuara dhe të orkestruara nga Serbia, e cila ka edhe interesin, edhe gatishmërinë, edhe aftësinë për të shkaktuar sulme e dëmtime të këtilla, në rastin konkret duke përdorur një sasi të madhe të eksplozivit në një nyje kyçe ku riparimi është I vështirë.
And Britain's Parliament voted in favour of a new bill to legalise assisted dying on Friday. After passionate debate in the House of Commons, the lower house of Parliament, 330 lawmakers voted in favour of the terminally ill adults bill with 275 against. Under the bill, mentally competent, terminally ill adults in England and Wales who are assessed by doctors to have 6 months or less left to live would be allowed the right to choose to end their lives with medical help. Campaign group Dignity in Dying hailed the result as a historic step towards greater choice and protection for dying people, but Christian Concern called it a very Black Friday for the vulnerable in this country. Vote counting begins in Ireland with an exit poll indicating a tight finish between the two main parties, with partial results expected throughout the day. Voters chose a new 134-seat lower chamber of parliament, the Dáil, with the housing crisis dominating the campaign. After voting concluded late Friday, the pro-Irish Unity Sinn Féin party had 21.1% of the votes, neck and neck with the centre-right Fine Gael, led by outgoing Prime Minister Simon Harris on 21%. A final result, however, may take days as Ireland's proportional representation system sees votes of eliminated candidates redistributed during multiple rounds of counting. Now, Georgian police fired water cannon on demonstrators as thousands take to the streets for a second day to protest the government after Georgia's ruling party said it was halting EU accession talks until 2028. European Union accession is overwhelmingly popular in Georgia, according to opinion polls, and the move saw thousands mass outside the parliament building in Tbilisi, dispersed by riot police using water cannon and gas. The freezing of application talks has been met with widespread anger in Georgia, which has the aim of EU membership written into its constitution. Protesters carrying Georgian and EU flags pressed towards the Soviet-built fortress-like parliament building and hurled fireworks at police officers. Now, World Trade Organization Chief Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was reappointed for a second term at a special meeting in Geneva on Friday. Okonjo-Iweala, a former Nigerian finance minister who made history in 2021 by becoming the WTO's first female and first African Director General, announced in September that she would run again, aiming to complete unfinished business. No other candidates ran against her, and all of the WTO's 166 members agreed by consensus to a proposal to reappoint her. Okonjo-Iweala said she was looking forward to working with the incoming Donald Trump administration and that she saw common ground between them on areas like intellectual property rights.
I'm grateful to the membership for the election to a second term. We have a full agenda to deliver for the people of this world that we are here working for and for the planet. And we fully intend to get to work immediately, no stopping, to try and deliver on these results. I'm grateful for the honor of serving this organization, for the trust that the membership has put in me. Until we get specifics in terms of what is planned, I think it will be a bit premature to try to pronounce on these issues. We look forward to working with the administration. We are grateful to the administration we worked with now. We are looking forward to working with the new administration.
Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Russian Defense Minister Andrei Belousov meets North Korean leader Kim in Pyongyang. United States approve arms sales to Taiwan that includes spare parts for F-16 jets and radars. And we tell you how saffron cultivation is boosting farmers' income in Syria.
We are living in times where things are changing at an unforeseen pace. And at the forefront of many of these positive changes are strong individuals who are looking towards the future.
Through the stories I tell, I try and sort of reignite that intuitive sense of how close we are to nature and how much there is to learn from it.
Organic farming, it also helps you not only reduce the carbon footprint, but also help adapt because you are promoting natural farming.
Very lightweight, but it makes you feel that you don't have to eat too much. In this NFT channel, we use net cups with cocoa peats on it. This helps to penetrate the roots. There will be nutritious water flowing through the channel that supplies essential nutrients for the plant.
Sheikh Mahajan, some more stories. Weather-related updates now. Landslide in eastern Uganda has killed at least 17 people, with rescue operations underway to try and find the 100 people who may be trapped in the deep mud that engulfs the area. The landslide occurred on Wednesday in Bulambuli district, about 300 kilometers east of the capital Kampala, and buried dozens of homes across several villages, with vast areas covered in deep mud where homes and schools once stood. Community members wailed over the remains of their recovered loved ones. The Ugandan government has directed citizens living in landslide-prone areas to relocate. The Red Cross and police are conducting a search and rescue operation. The East African nation has been hit by unusually heavy rainfall since October that has triggered widespread flooding and landslides in some areas. The recent heavy rains caused flooding in northwest after a tributary of the Nile River burst its banks, prompting the Prime Minister's office to issue a disaster alert, saying that main roads across the country had been cut off. And the residents in southern Thailand were rescued from their flooded homes by members of the Thai army as severe flooding continues in southern Thailand. Flooding triggered by heavy rains have left 4 people dead and affected more than 240,000 of households in southern Thailand. The military rescuers used boats to transport the flood victims through waist-high flood waters. And Sunnukur volcanic fissure eruption on Iceland's Reykjanes Peninsula continues to flow since November 20th. The eruption is the 7th since December and comes after years of increased seismic activity in the region. The persistent eruptions have led researchers to question whether this is the beginning of a more prolonged period of volcanic unrest in the region, with some experts suggesting that the eruptions could continue for a while, reshaping the landscape and potentially having long-term impacts on the local ecosystem. Now, North Korea state media released still photographs of leader Kim Jong-un meeting with Russian Defense Minister Andrei Belousov in Pyongyang on Saturday. The still images also showed Kim and Belousov at a banquet and attending a concert. During the meeting, Kim said Ukraine's use of long-range weapons is the result of direct military intervention by the United States, and Moscow is entitled to fight in self-defense. Kim pledged to expand ties with Russia in all areas, including military affairs, under the comprehensive strategic partnership he signed with Russian President Vladimir Putin in June. And the US State Department has approved the potential sale of spare parts for F-16 jets and radars to Taiwan for an estimated $385 million. The Pentagon said on Friday, a day before Taiwan President Lai Ching-te starts a sensitive Pacific trip. The United States is bound by law to provide Taiwan with the means to defend itself despite the lack of formal diplomatic ties between Washington and Taipei, to the constant anger of Beijing. China has been stepping up military pressure against Taiwan, including 2 rounds of war games this year, and security sources said that Beijing may hold more to coincide with Lai's tour of Pacific, which includes stopovers in Hawaii and Guam, a U.S. territory. The Pentagon's Defense Security Cooperation Agency said the sale consisted of $320 million in spare parts and support for F-16 fighters and active electronically scanned array radars and related equipment. According to the Pentagon, the State Department also approved the potential sale to Taiwan of improved mobile subscriber equipment and support for an estimated $65 million. Last month, the United States announced a potential $2 billion arms sale package to Taiwan, including the delivery for the first time to the island of an advanced air defense missile system tested in Ukraine. And amidst protests continuing for the release of former ISKCON monk Chinmoy Krishnadas, who is under arrest in Bangladesh on charges of sedition, the Bangladeshi authorities have frozen his bank accounts along with bank accounts of 16 other people associated with the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Expressing deep concern at the situation, Government of India has asked Bangladeshi authorities to ensure the safety of minorities. Meanwhile, Bangladeshi High Court has rejected a petition to ban ISKCON, stating that the current situation does not warrant such a measure.
The Indian government has responded to the situation in Bangladesh. The Ministry of External Affairs on Friday expressed deep concern over the violence against Hindus and once again urged the Bangladeshi authorities to ensure the safety and security of minority communities.
The interim government must live up to its responsibility of protecting all minorities. We are concerned at the surge of extremist rhetoric, increasing incidents of violence and provocation. These developments cannot be dismissed only as media exaggerations.
Indian political leaders across the political spectrum have called for the protection of Hindus in Bangladesh. Protests in different parts of India, from Kolkata to Jammu, show solidarity with the Hindu minority and other minorities in Bangladesh. Massive protests were held in Kolkata, organized by the Hindu Jagran Manch, demanding the release of the Hindu monk Chinmoy Krishnadas. The protests will not die down. The BJP leader Suvendu Adhikari revealing plans for the next few days.
मैं भारत से true patriotic people को अपील करूंगा.
I appeal to all true nationalists. Boycott Bangladesh. Every day we have processions, Hindu processions. Tomorrow there will be 2 big processions, taking the flag with the slogan of Jai Shri Ram. It will be held in Jadavpur and in Prasar. On Monday we will have a big protest near Petropol, wherever we get permission.
ISKCON has always denied allegations that it was linked to violent protests, emphasizing its commitment to peaceful coexistence. The Bangladesh High Court rejected a petition to ban ISKCON, stating that the current situation does not warrant such a measure. The Indian government has vouched for the good character and service of ISKCON.
We see ISKCON as a globally well-regarded organization with a strong record of social service.
However, Bangladesh's Financial Intelligence Unit has ordered the freezing of bank accounts of 17 people associated with the International Society for Krishna Consciousness ISKCON Bangladesh, including its former leader Chinmoy Krishnadas Brahmachari.
We have a responsibility because we enable Bangladesh to be free and independent. Now, whatever the change of government has been in Bangladesh, it cannot be acceptable that religious minorities are persecuted in this way.
The incoming Trump administration in the US has commented on the situation in Bangladesh. Johnny Moore, a former advisor to President-elect Donald Trump, described the violence against minorities in Bangladesh as an existential threat and put the blame squarely on the interim head, Mohammed Yunus.
Well, I can tell you, if you're a religious minority in the country and you're wondering whether you're going to live tomorrow, it's a very, very big deal. And it is the first responsibility of any government to protect these people. Mohammed Yunus is failing. That's what's happening. And he better fix it right away.
The interim government of Bangladesh, led by Mohammed Yunus, is pursuing charges of crimes against humanity against former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina at the International Criminal Court. The pursuit of these charges is likely to further strain relations between India and Bangladesh. Hasina has been provided shelter in India. She has called for the immediate release of Chinmoy Krishna Das, who was arrested on charges of sedition. Bureau Report, DD India.
All right, to talk more on this, DD India's Naval Sangh Parmar is joining us on the phone line from Dhaka. Naval Sangh, the Ministry of External Affairs has expressed deep concern over the violence against Hindus and once again urged the Bangladeshi authorities to ensure the safety and security of the minority communities there. Tell us what measures have been taken by Bangladesh to ensure the safety of the minorities.
Bangladesh government through its advisor, time and again issued advisory as well as assured the people of Bangladesh that government is taking enough measures to protect life and for the safety of the people of all people, including minorities. Even though there were two incidents happened yesterday, there is one called Santaneshwari Kali Temple in Chittagong, which is in the outskirts of Chittagong city. And there were a attack on the Kali Temple, and the rally, intimidation kind of rally were held to people with the sticks and rods in their hand. They took out a rally in a particular area where the minority people are living. The second incident happened in the Sherpur district of Bangladesh, northern Bangladesh, where the Sufi shrine at Dargah Sharif in Sherpur was attacked by the fundamentalists yesterday. So this kind of incidents are happening even after government claiming they are taking enough measures to protect life and safety of the people. The police and other law enforcement agencies have been deployed, but the people, the atmosphere here is very charged up, and there is a kind of fear among the minority people. So there were no any rally or we can say procession from the minority side in last 2 days, but they are taking up issues on the social media and other form of media. They are demanding release of Chinmoy Krishna Das Prabhu, and at the same time they are demanding special provisions from government to protect the minorities, including their 8-point demand.
Now, also Bangladesh freezes bank accounts of Chinmoy Krishna Das and 16 others associated with ISKCON. How do you see the impact considering the situation there in Bangladesh and also in India?
Yes, day before yesterday, the Financial Intelligence Unit of Bangladesh freezed the account of 17 people, and they are of the view that some of the individuals here in Bangladesh are very involved in the attack on the junior advocate Shariful, who lost his life in the Chittagong court, out of Chittagong court premises. So based on that charge, there are some police case against the some individuals from the minority community, and around 25 to 30 people have been arrested in that case.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs. Now, Sri Lanka's consumer prices fell by 2.1% in November, the highest deflation rate recorded by the economically fragile island nation since 1961, official data showed on Saturday. An unprecedented financial crash in 2022 brought months of consumer goods shortages, with inflation peaking at nearly 70% that year. Since then, a $2.9 billion bailout loan from the International Monetary Fund, tax hikes and other austerity measures have slowly made headway in repairing the island's economy. Sri Lanka's central bank said inflation was likely to return to its target level of 5% in the coming months. Sri Lanka had already seen deflation of 0.8% in October and 0.5% in September. President Anura Kumara Dissanayake, who was elected in September, has vowed to maintain the IMF bailout program negotiated by his predecessor that includes higher taxes and cuts to state spending. All right, still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to attend All India Conference of Director Generals, Inspector Generals of Police. India and Asian Development Bank signed loan to promote plant health management in India's horticulture. And today marks 167th birth anniversary of one of the greatest scientists from India, Jagdish Chandra Bose. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Recap of what we have done so far. Ray of hope for Gaza peace as Hamas delegation to hold ceasefire talks in Cairo. Hezbollah pledges to implement truce with Israel. Fierce fight erupts in Syria. Rebel forces enter Aleppo in surprise offensive. Army closes all highways, waits for Russian support. And Cyclone Fengal likely to make landfall today. Red alert for Indian states of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry. Now, the 21st Marrakesh International Film Festival officially in Morocco with a glamorous opening ceremony drawing international movie stars, filmmakers and industry professionals from around the world. The opening ceremony featured glamorous fashion, warm exchanges between stars and fans, and an air of anticipation for the films that will compete for top honours throughout the festival. Directors including Tim Burton and Justin Triet walked the red carpet at the opening ceremony of the film festival. Now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Saffron, often referred to as red gold, is emerging as a promising crop for farmers in northwest Syria, offering a potential boost to their incomes amidst ongoing challenges in the region. As Syria continues to be unstable due to years of conflict, agricultural diversification has become a key strategy for improving the livelihoods of local farmers. At a depth of 11 meters off the coast of Panama, a German man has been living for 2 months in a capsule attached to a futuristic house built on the waters of the Caribbean Sea. The 59-year-old aerospace engineer aims to set a Guinness World Record and prove that it is possible to live comfortably and work underwater. Hundreds of cancer survivors gathered to paddle out in unison in Australia, finding strength and solace in the ancient sport of dragon boating. The move was a testament to the power of shared experiences and the healing that can come from connecting with others who understand the journey. Vito the pug wins the National Dog Show and becomes the first pug to win the honour in 2 decades since the contest first began airing on TV. Vito surpassed 1,940 other dogs vying for the title of the competition. Now back home, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend the All India Conference of Director Generals and Inspector Generals of Police from 30th November to 1st December at Bhubaneswar in Odisha state. The conference will include deliberations on critical components of national security, including counter-terrorism, left-wing extremism, new criminal laws and narcotics. The President's Office Medal for Distinguished Service will be awarded during the conference. The conference will also be attended by Union Home Minister Amit Shah. The conference will provide an interactive platform for senior police professionals and security administrators in the country to freely discuss and debate diverse national security related issues, as also various operational, infrastructural and welfare related problems faced by the police in India. Its deliberations will include formulation and sharing of professional practices and processes in tackling challenges relating to crime control and law and order management, besides internal security threats. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has said that the government regularly takes up any transgression along the line of actual control with the Chinese side through established mechanisms. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar gave this update in a written reply to a question by DMK member Dayanidhi Maran in Lok Sabha, the lower house of India's parliament. He mentioned in his reply that India uses established mechanisms like border personal meetings, flag meetings, free meetings of working mechanism for consultation and coordination on India-China border affairs, Corps Commander level meeting mechanism, as well as through diplomatic channels to discuss issues of transgression along the line of actual control. In his reply, he also apprised the members about outcomes of the meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping in Kazan on 23rd October 2024 in this regard. He said that it was agreed between the two leaders that dialogue mechanisms at the level of foreign minister and other officials will be utilized to stabilize and rebuild bilateral relations. External Affairs Minister said he himself met Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi on the sidelines of G20 summit on 18 November 2024, in which people-to-people relations such as resumption of the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra pilgrimage, data sharing on transborder rivers, direct flights and media exchanges. It was agreed that a meeting of the special representatives and of the Foreign Secretary Vice Minister mechanism will take place soon. And the High Commission of India in Maldives has taken up challenges faced by NRIs in Maldives, with the government of Maldives and the Maldives Monetary Authority requesting their support in enhancing allocation of US dollars to banks in Maldives in order to address the issues faced by Indian nationals residing there. In a written reply to a question by Lok Sabha member Rajmohan Unithan in the lower house, India's External Affairs Minister said that Maldives Monetary Authority, which is the central bank of Maldives, allocates a limited amount of US dollars per month to banks in Maldives to facilitate remittances abroad. This has impacted the ability of banks in Maldives to facilitate remittances beyond a certain limit for foreign nationals, including Indian nationals earning their salaries in local Maldivian currency. Indian nationals earning their salaries in US dollars do not face difficulties in remitting their money to India. Now, as Cyclone Fengal intensifies over the Bay of Bengal and heads towards landfall near Puducherry, Tamil Nadu and authorities have issued urgent advisories and implemented key safety measures. Cyclone Fengal is predicted to make landfall on Saturday afternoon, with winds potentially reaching speeds of up to 90 kilometers per hour. India's weather department predicts that the cyclonic storm will move west-northwestwards and cross North Tamil Nadu Puducherry coast close to Puducherry with a wind speed of 70 to 80 kilometers per hour, gusting to 90 during the afternoon today. The approaching storm, which is expected to bring heavy rainfall and strong winds, has led the state government to close schools and colleges in several districts, halt public transport services. Cyclone Fengal, which intensified into a cyclonic storm on November 29, is predicted to make landfall between Karaikal and Mahabalipuram near Puducherry around midday. All right, we'll go across to DD India's Anbarsan is joining us live from Tamil Nadu. Anbarsan, Cyclone Fengal expected to make landfall today close to Puducherry. Tell us about the relief and also the rescue operations and the camps that have been put in place.
As the latest update from the Regional Meteorological Department and also the Indian Meteorological Department has said that the Cyclone Fengal, just situated nearly 150 kilometer distance from Chennai and around 160 kilometer from Puducherry. And the Indian Meteorological Department also predicted that the speed of wind may reach nearly 90 kilometer per hour and the gusting speed will be like that, around 80 kilometer. km/h. And particularly the 7 districts of coastal and delta region may get heavy to extreme heavy rainfall for next 24 hours, particularly the afternoon till 2 p.m. The cyclone Fengal going to landfall on that. And particularly the region of Karaikal to Maracana, where the exact high point of Cyclone Fengal going to cross. And the alert and also the warnings are given to all the residents, particularly via SMS to the Puducherry citizens, where the landfall is accurately going to reach. And also the Chennai Greater Corporation has given alert to the citizen, and particularly the low-lying area of Chennai, and also the various region, they station boats, gensets, and also given warning to that relief camps. Particularly, they established nearly 1,000 relief camps across all the coastal districts, particularly the Delta and also the KTCC region. And also the Navy and also Indian Coast Guard all are in full swing. 12 NDRF team all are in full alert to wherever any occurred situation happened, they can reach. And particularly this Cyclone Fengal going to reach afternoon. So all the schools all start across 7 districts of Tamil Nadu, and also given warning and also instruction to the IT, information technology companies, to give a work from home option to their employees, because, and also the OMR, the East Coast Road of Chennai, all closed for the public transport, because that's the place where the cyclone Fengal going to cross over. So they given full alert, state and central administration, particularly the relief rescue operations teams, all in full swing to reach whenever the alert situation happened, they can reach the location. That is what the latest update. So we can continuously monitoring the situation across the coastal districts of Tamil Nadu.
All right, you're saying that warnings have been given to the people, various government advisories have also been issued, and you also said, Anbarsan, that 7 districts are likely to be affected most. Tell us what are these districts and what all places are on red alert?
Particularly the Delta region of Mayiladuthurai, Viluppuram, Kadalur, and also Nagapattinam, and particularly the Chengalpattu district and Puducherry and neighboring parts, and also the KTCC region, which is called Kanjipuram, Tiruvallur, Chennai, Chengalpattu. So across all the coastal districts till Chennai to Nagapattinam going to be affected, and heavy rainfall that last 24 hours, nearly 10 to 20 centimeter of rain has been registered for Chennai region itself. And we can see that the reservoirs and water storage all full across the 7 districts. And if more rains are coming, we can see the situation maybe in a worsened situation. That's the latest on the ground line.
All right, Anbarsan, we'll leave it at that. But yes, we'll keep coming back to you for the latest updates. India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar is set to visit Arunachal Pradesh on Saturday for a day-long trip, marking his second tour to the state since assuming office. The Vice President will visit Doimukh and Itanagar in Arunachal Pradesh. Vice President Dhankar will be the chief guest at the 22nd convocation ceremony of the Rajiv Gandhi University in Doimukh. He will also address the Special Assembly session of Arunachal Pradesh Legislative Assembly of Itanagar during the visit. He had last visited Arunachal in February this year to participate in the Statehood Day celebrations. The India-Singapore bilateral military exercise Agni Warrior 2024, which had commenced on November 28 in Maharashtra, is to be concluded today. The primary objective of the exercise is to enhance professional military interactions between the artillery units of India and Singapore. The exercise comes a month after N.J. Eng Hen, Singapore's Minister of Defence, visited India to co-chair the 6th India-Singapore Defence Ministers' Dialogue in New Delhi with his Indian counterpart Rajnath Singh. With 2025 set to mark 60 years of diplomatic relations between India and Singapore, both ministers had agreed to further step up defence cooperation and achieve new milestones. India and ADB have signed a $98 million loan agreement to enhance plant health management in India's horticulture. The project aims to improve farmers' access to disease-free planting materials, boosting crop yield and quality. It addresses climate challenges by helping farmers adapt to rising temperatures and changing pest behaviors. Clean plant centers with advanced diagnostic labs and trained experts will maintain disease-free materials. A clean plant certification scheme will accredit private nurseries and certify planting materials. The Ministry of Agriculture, National Horticulture Board and ICAR will oversee the project implementation. Let's now take a look at other stories making news today. The second Crime Literature Festival of India has begun in Dehradun, hosting authors, filmmakers and law experts. The three-day event features dynamic sessions by prominent figures and honors Hindi crime writers. Open to all, the festival also highlights young talent through short story and film competitions. Dharamshala hosts the first ever Tibetan Artist Festival, uniting over 30 artists, musicians and writers from around the globe. The event provides a platform for showcasing Tibetan struggles and countering Chinese propaganda. The three-day festival celebrates Tibetan identity through art and storytelling. Assam's Tokliti Research Institute has introduced reduvid bugs to combat tea pest naturally. This eco-friendly method reduces reliance on chemical pesticides, promoting sustainable tea farming. The bugs bred in advanced labs target harmful pests, threatening tea yields and quality. Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Premier League club Leicester City appoints Ruud van Nistelrooy as their new manager. And big setback for Australia. Josh Hazlewood ruled out of Adelaide Test versus India due to injury.
We are living in times where things are changing at an unforeseen pace. And at the forefront of many of these positive changes are strong individuals who are looking towards the future.
Through the stories I tell, I try and sort of reignite that intuitive sense of how close we are to nature and how much there is to learn from it.
Organic farming, it also helps you not only reduce the carbon footprint, but also help adapt, because you are promoting natural farming.
Very lightweight, but it makes you feel that you don't have to eat too much. In this NFT channel, we use net cups with cocoa peats on it. This helps to penetrate the roots. There will be nutritious water flowing through the channel that supplies essential nutrients for the plant.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. 30th November marks 167th birth anniversary of Jagdish Chandra Bose, whose contributions in the field of science has left an everlasting impression. DD India's Priya Yadav reports.
There is absolutely no denying that polymath Jagdish Chandra Bose was really ahead of his time. His work laid the foundation for today's high-speed 5G internet nearly a century before it became reality. Jagdish Chandra Bose was a Bengali scientist, botanist, and a physicist. From plants to physics, Sir Bose showed the world that India had its own way of doing science. He was the founder of modern science in the Indian subcontinent. Bose Institute, that was set up in 1917 by Jagdish Chandra Bose, is Asia's first modern research center devoted to interdisciplinary research and bears a century-old tradition of research excellence.
Bose Institute continues to lead Indian science for the past 107 years, fulfilling the dreams of our founder director, Acharya J.C. Bose.
Jagdish Chandra Bose made a remarkable discovery that found out that plants can move in response to stimuli. For his remarkable contributions in the field of science and technology, he was awarded with a number of honors, not just in India, but even outside of it. In 1903, British government made Bose a Companion of Order of the Indian Empire. In 1904, Bose became the first Asian who was awarded a US patent. In 1912, Bose was made a Companion of the Order of the Star of India. In 1917, Bose was knighted. In 1920, Bose became a Fellow of the Royal Society. He was the first Indian scientist to receive this honor in the field of physics. In 2012, the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers recognized Bose as the father of radio and wireless communication. On Sir Jagdish Chandra Bose's 167th birth anniversary, let's celebrate this global visionary whose contributions continue to impact every aspect of modern existence. Priya Yadav for DD India.
All right, sports updates now. We'll start with chess. Indian chess grandmaster D. Gukesh will take on China's reigning world champion Ning Liren in the Game 5 of the FIDE World Chess Championship 2024 on Saturday afternoon. Earlier on Friday, Gukesh held Liren to a draw in the Game 4 of the championship. The game ended in a draw after 42 moves as D. Gukesh, playing with black pieces, overcame a shaky initial phase in Singapore. The World Championship match is tied at 2-2 now after 4 games. The first player to reach 7.5 points over 14 games will win the prestigious title. And two-time Olympic medalist and former world number 2 PV Sindhu will take on young shuttler Unnati Huda in the semi-finals of the Syed Modi International Super 300 badminton tournament on Saturday. On Friday, Sindhu appeared to have learned from her previous struggles in the tournament, playing her best game so far in an easy 21-15, 21-17 win against China's Wang Dai. Meanwhile, Unnati started tentatively against Ishika Jaiswal in the first game before breezing through the second for a 21-16, 21-9 win. In men's singles, second seed Priyanshu Rajawat will take on Singapore's fourth seed Jia Heng Jason Tay in the semi-finals. In cricket, big setback for Australia ahead of the second test at Adelaide from December 6 as Josh Hazlewood was ruled out due to injury. According to a Cricket Australia statement, the speedster has a low-grade left side injury. Sean Abbott and Brendan Doggett have been added to the Australian squad. Australia is already without regular all-rounder Cameron Green, who was ruled out of the 5-match series after opting to have a surgery on a stress fracture. Hazlewood was Australia's highest wicket taker in the first test, taking 5 wickets over 2 innings. However, the host side ended up losing the game by 295 runs. The International Cricket Council's Executive Board could not achieve a consensus with the Pakistan Cricket Board on the much-awaited Champions Trophy schedule. The board will reconvene and work towards a positive resolution of the multi-nation event, which was originally scheduled to take place in Pakistan from February to March next year. The Board of Control for Cricket in India had already conveyed to ICC about its decision of not travelling to Pakistan for the tournament. The Indian Cricket Board is understood to have asked for a hybrid model for the tournament where they play their games in UAE. Pakistan, however, have stuck to their stance and insisted that the entire tournament be played in their country. Football now. Premier League club Leicester City have appointed Ruud van Nistelrooy as their new manager to replace Steve Cooper on a contract until June 2027. Cooper was sacked with Leicester hovering 2 points above the relegation zone, and the club moved quickly to appoint Van Nistelrooy. The Dutchman was assistant manager at Manchester United and took interim charge when Erik ten Hag was sacked last month before Ruben Amorim took over. And Saint Bernard puppy Madeleine made her debut in Geneva as the official mascot for the UEFA Women's Euro 2025 that will take place in Switzerland in July next year. Her name is inspired by Madeleine Boy, who in 1965 became the first woman to obtain a soccer license in Switzerland. Ball said she was very proud and that it was a great recognition for her 60-year career in soccer. The Saint Bernard mascot puppy, a dog breed from Switzerland, best known for rescuing people in the alpine environment, arrived in Geneva train station to meet her fans. She took a walk with them on Lehmann Lakeside before leaving for Zurich for another presentation. And a 68-member Indian contingent will take part in the 10th Asia Pacific Deaf Games that will take place in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia from Sunday to 8th of December. Indian contingent left on Friday for the tournament is seen as a precursor to the Deaflympics in Japan next year, and it is at par with Asian Games for individuals with speech and hearing impairment. Team India will be competing in 7 disciplines, which includes athletics, badminton, chess, judo, table tennis, taekwondo and wrestling. And to kick off the holiday season, the famous Grand Place in Brussels lit up before a crowd gathered for the occasion. The sound and light show will run until the beginning of 2025. And India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati has recently launched Waves, entering the field of OTT platform. Waves provides a complete infotainment ecosystem to digital media and OTT audiences. If you also want great content for free, then download Waves today. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.